7 most heartbreaking horror movies ever ranked. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Number 7. The Woman in Black, 2012. In a true departure from his famous role as Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe takes center stage in this reimagining of the Gothic novel. Despite not featuring any extreme violence, The Woman in Black isn't afraid to push boundaries, especially considering its PG-13 rating. The vengeful spirit in this movie forces young children in the town to take their own lives. Although it feels as if the former Harry Potter is just what the townspeople need, things end more tragically for Arthur than expected. At the end of the movie, the Woman in Black comes to claim Arthur's son, and in an attempt to save him, Arthur jumps onto the train tracks. Number 6. The Mist, 2007. Interestingly, the most tragic element of this movie is not a part of the original novel it was adapted from. The movie centers around a father and son who find themselves trapped in a local grocery store when a thick mist descends over their town. It soon becomes apparent that there are inhuman creatures living within the mist, but some of the people within the store are equally as monstrous. Despite making it out of the grocery store alive, the small group of protagonists realizes that all hope is lost. Using his last bullets, David shoots his friends and his young son to save them all from the horror he knows is coming. Then, in a cruel twist, the army suddenly arrives to fight off the inhuman creatures and clear the mist. Salvation arrives just as the characters give up hope, and David has already done the unthinkable. Number 5. The Others, 2001. The twist towards the end of this movie is what makes it so tragic. Although it is similar to one of the best horror movie twists of all time from The Sixth Sense, the way it is presented in The Others is particularly harrowing. The idea of a protagonist being dead all along may not be particularly original, but the fact Grace killed her own children and then herself out of grief is both shocking and devastating. The trickery of the movie means most of the scares come from the real living inhabitants of the house, with the main characters actually being the so-called ghosts. Number 4. The Ring, 2002. The Ring is full of disturbing imagery and creepy moments, but is also quite upsetting. The deaths of Katie and Noah may be scary, but they are also tragic. Neither of the characters can do anything to avoid their fate. Although there are clear hints that Samara was always dangerous, her backstory is still unsettling. She was pushed down a well by her adoptive mother and trapped down there for 7 days before she died. Even though she is the villain of the movie, Samara's death and the pain she inflicts after make for a devastating tale. Number 3. Eden Lake, 2008. The most disturbing aspect of Eden Lake is that it feels so grounded in reality, and it was cleverly released at a time when youth culture was demonized within the media. The movie begins as many other horror movies do, with a loved-up couple traveling to what they believe will be an idyllic location for a holiday. What starts as a petty argument with some local teens escalates beyond control and leaves the couple fighting for their lives. The movie is devastating on a number of different levels, with Jenny's grief and eventual fate being the most obvious. However, the last shot of the movie is perhaps the most heartbreaking, as it reveals that the despicable Brett is the product of someone even worse. Number 2. Pan's Labyrinth, 2006. Although Pan's Labyrinth's status as a horror movie is debatable, it certainly features many horrifying monsters, not all of them inhuman. The Pale Man is one of the scariest practical horror monsters ever, and is pure nightmare fuel. While the movie does edge closer towards dark fantasy than horror, the suffering Ophelia and her mother endure is what makes this a terrifying watch. Although it is left to interpretation, it is heavily implied that Ophelia creates the fantasy world in order to escape the painstaking reality she finds herself in. Ophelia's death at the hands of her stepfather is bittersweet. She is callously murdered, but is able to return to the fantasy world as a queen. Number 1. The Descent, 2005. On the surface, The Descent feels like a typical monster horror movie. However, it is much deeper and more psychological than first meets the eye. In the movie, Sarah and her friends explore an uncharted cave system a year after the tragic deaths of her husband and daughter. While the creatures the women encounter are terrifying, it is Sarah's emotional break that makes the movie so chilling. During the traumatic experience, the women are far from a united front against the creatures and instead turn against each other. The UK ending of The Descent is one of the most disturbing horror movie endings ever, as Sarah escapes the cave only for it to be revealed it was all in her imagination and she is still trapped, hallucinating her daughter and completely unfazed by the creatures closing in around her. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.